The iPad generation is coming. This one's short. Company has a summer internship for high schoolers. They each get an old desktop and access to one folder on the company drive. Kid can't find his folder. It happens sometimes with how this org was modified for COVID that our server gets disconnected and users have to restart. I tell them to restart and call me back. They must have hit shutdown because 5 minutes later I get a call back it's not starting up. Long story short, after a few minutes of trying to walk them through it over the phone, I walk down and find he's been thinking his monitor is the computer. I plug in the VGA cord, he thought was power, and push the power button. Still can't find the folder. He's looking on the desktop. I open File Explorer. I can see the folder. User, I don't see it. I click the folder. User, okay, now I see the folder. I create a shortcut on his desktop. I ask the user what he uses at home. An iPad. What do you use in school? iPads. Edit, just to be clear, I'm not blaming the kid. I blame educators and parents for the oversight that basic tech skills are part of a balanced education. Guy who lied on his CV.
We had a guy join our IT team, only 5 of us for a company of about 1,000 around the country. He was meant to be an escalation point for myself and another member so we didn't have to go so high up for help. Dude was so bad I couldn't believe it. He didn't understand how AD worked or 365 or anything. He's shipping out laptops without power supplies, he's setting up phones without MDM on them, he's creating accounts on the wrong domain. He spent like a day changing the settings on an iPad so it looks pretty and easy for the users, despite our guide telling us to standardize as much as possible to provide easier support. Anyway, this is the funniest one. A user had a problem with her printer, so he went to the user and checked on her PC. He decided to image her PC. Slightly disgruntled, the user logs back in an hour later and the printer is still not working. She politely logged a ticket asking for help. He walks over there and tells her she doesn't know what she's talking about and that she is not IT. He checks the printer, no messages, he checks the PC. He images the PC again. Walks away and leaves for the day. Leaves a note in the ticket saying that he has imaged the PC and that the user is annoying? WTF? User can't print the next day, at which point he escalates it backwards to me. He is meant to be senior to me by about $15,000. User had just been selecting the wrong printer as our printers are not easy to identify by names. Fixed that. Printed and was success. She then asked about her Acrobat Pro, which I had to reinstall, reset her account password and login. Some macros for Excel needed to be set up. She spent the rest of the day getting her bookmarks back, and getting the PC back to how she liked it. Felt bad for her, at least she hadn't saved work on C. Because he just imaged it without even asking her lol.
I'll have you know I've been working on computers for 10 years.
That's how the call started. Then she went on to tell me how she wasn't going to be talked to like some child. This is gonna go great, I moaned internally. Her computer was running slow. We ran through a few things and I asked her to shut down her PC and let me know when it was off. About 4 seconds later she tells me, okay, it's off. Impossible. I ask her to turn it on again and let me know when we get back to the desktop. 3 seconds later, okay, it's back up. Ma'am, can you tell me exactly how you're shutting down your computer? Here it comes. She launches into a tirade about how she works on a computer every day at work and blah 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 for about 5 minutes. I understand, ma'am, and I'm simply asking the steps to verify you are taking the proper procedure for this computer. Of course I am. I push the button on the computer. Is that the computer where you see the images or under your desk? What do you mean? That's a stupid question. The computer where the information comes up. I take a deep breath. Ma'am, that's not the computer. That's your monitor. What? You're not making sense. That's how we all shut down our computers at work. I explain that at work she doesn't have a computer, but a workstation on a network. I explain that turning off the monitor does not affect the PC at all. Then I walk her through proper shutdown procedures and we reboot her PC. When it reboots, it installs several updates including multiple driver updates. Hey, you fixed the colors, she never mentioned video issues, and it's running smoother again.
Oops. Laptop struggles are real. Let me take you back to the late 90s. Our company had over 150 consultants out in the field all over the US installing PeopleSoft. Consultants would at times be away for a week or two at a time. Most of the time they would fly home for the weekend, but if it was go live time they'd stay the weekend for the Monday morning launch. All that to say that one of our best consultants, C, was away on a big account and finally was able to go home after 2.5 weeks. When the consultant supervisor, CS, tried to contact him via email, there was no response for a couple days. Me, IT, this is BamBam67. CS, hey, could you give consultant a call? He said he's having trouble with his laptop. Me, of course, I'll call him right now. I hang up and call consultant at home. They usually had 3 to 4 days between deployments. C, hello? Me, hey C, this is BamBam67 from the help desk. I heard from CS that you're having some issues. I'm hoping I can help. C, I'm not sure if you can. Me, why not? What's going on? C, it's kind of embarrassing. Me, don't worry, I've heard it all. I had C, well, I flew home on Friday night. I hadn't been home in weeks. My wife and kids all came to pick me up at the airport. Me, okay. Wondering where this is going. C, they met me in the airport with signs welcoming home. It was adorable. Me, I bet, sounds great. C, we get to the car and we load everything up and I back out of the parking spot. I hit a bump and hit the gas to go over it. Me, realizing what happened, it wasn't a bump, was it? C, no. I set my suitcase and computer bag down so I could load the kids in the car. I put my bags in the back but I missed my computer bag and ran over it. Me, oh my, okay, how bad is it? C, first off, this was completely my fault. I will pay for the replacement. Me, let's worry about that later. Do you have it there with you? C, yes. Sounding a bit dejected. Me, can you describe the damage? C, it's really bad. You know how laptops are usually flat? This is a U. I can't even open the lid. I'm afraid I've lost all my notes and files. CS will fire me for sure. Side note, IT had just sent out a message a week before asking people to take better care of their equipment and treat it like their own. It was a bit stern and straight to the point, and some people thought it could be a termination offense, even though it was never stated. Me, look, no one is getting fired. What I need you to do is pack that thing up the best you can and overnight it to me. C, yes, of course. I go right now. Me, great, as soon as I get it and take a look I'll give you a call. The next day we received the package. The IBM 760 laptop was munched. What I found out later that his car was a SUV. It rolled on and over that bag. He wouldn't send the bag back, he was going to buy his own replacement. I grabbed our department toolbox that we kept in the server room and was able to use a screwdriver to pry open the top. Because it was now U-shaped, the hinges finally gave way and snapped. Pieces of laptop flew across the room as my coworkers watched me operate. They cringed at the sight and sound of cracking, mangled plastic. As I've stated before, the great thing about that laptop was how all parts were modular and replaced very easily. As I carefully discarded the screen that was shattered beyond imagination, taking the brunt of the tire, I went to work on the keyboard. Like a messed up Scrabble board, letters are scattered and missing. I tore the keyboard off to discover the condition of the real treasure inside, the hard drive. As I pull away the last bits of keyboard, there it was, the hard drive nested inside this mangled piece of plastic. I was careful to take the battery out first, it looked slightly damaged. I did my best to gently remove the hard drive. As I took it out I could hear the cracking of plastic not wanting to give up its treasure. Inspecting the hard drive, there wasn't a scratch on it. Me, someone get me a new shell. Someone scrambled behind me and grabbed a brand new IBM 760 shell and placed on our shared center table in our IT room. I placed the hard drive in and it snapped in like normal. Put in a new battery and was ready to test. I slid the power button to on and the IBM screen pops up. Good so far. The screen went dark. This was the moment of truth. You could only hear the mechanical sounds of the drive spinning, as we watched holding our breath. When the Windows logo appeared you would have thought we just won the Super Bowl. Cheers and high fives for everyone. It booted to the logon screen and acted as if nothing had happened to it. I called C. C, this is C. Me, I've got some good news and bad news. C, what's the bad news? Me, your laptop is a complete loss, except. C, except what? Me, except the good news is we were able to recover the hard drive. We are packing it up right now, you should receive it tomorrow morning. C, oh my god, thank you so much. I'll have to call CS and let him know. Me, no worries, I just talked to him and let him know we swapped out your laptop for another one. C, did you tell him what happened? Me, yep, told him you were having trouble with the shell, not a total lie, and it needed replacement. He was happy to get you back online and set up your next gig. C was a great person and always took care of his computer equipment, so I wanted to do him a solid. As for the broken IBM shell, I used it in our training session for new hires on computer equipment responsibility. Needless to say, it was very effective. Everyone was happy, back to work, and I had a visual aid as a warning to new hires. Alright everyone. I have to get back to work myself. Until next time, remember, when someone calls you for help, you are their solution. Helping others is its own reward. Cheers. Update, thanks again everyone. I'm always surprised by your support and comments. I'll keep writing if you keep reading. Why actually work with Excel if you can print it out and fill it in by hand?
This just happened. I'm not a native English speaker, by the way, so apologies if I use confusing terms. I'm not tech support or even IT. I'm simply the youngest person in my department and have the most tech-related knowledge. So I'm usually in charge of implementing any kind of documents or processes in SAP, Access or Excel, etc. Me, P. Tech-illiterate coworker. A coworker just came to me and asked me to redo and simplify the Excel sheet we use to track how many COVID tests we give out every day per week. P seems to be complaining about how inefficient it is and that she doesn't understand it. She's the temporary stand-in for me because I have the next 2 weeks off. To clarify, it's literally a table with 3 columns and a bottom row summing up column B and C respectively. A is for the date, B is for the amount of tests given out each day, C is for how many positive cases we have. So, because I don't really know what's supposed to be so hard about typing in a number into a cell, I walk over and ask what the problem is. Hi P, I heard you have trouble with the COVID list? P, yes, the list makes no sense. Why did you only put one field for the sum? It's totally inefficient because now I have to print out a new page every day. What? Why would you print it out? It sums it up automatically. P, what do you mean? Okay, explain to me how you intended to go about it. P, sure, I print it out and write the numbers into the fields. Then after each day I add it up and write the total in the last row. But I have to print out a new one every day. That makes no sense. Cue me explaining that in Excel you can type a number into a cell and the sum function adds up the numbers automatically. You don't have to use a calculator. And no, you don't have to print it out. You just leave it in the group share folder where it's already in. And no, you don't have to send the thing as a printed out version to our boss because she has access to the document and can check it whenever. Sadly, I can't appoint someone else as stand-in because the others are too busy. Update. My manager asked me to fill in the Excel sheet even though I'm on vacation. She now only sends me the numbers via email and then I update the document. So, she can type in the numbers into Outlook and send me an email, but can't type the same numbers into Excel and click Save. Great. Update 2. I said beep it and now my manager is doing it herself.
That's not a mouse.
Hi all, I used to work at a prestigious private school that had a pretty big campus, approximately 45 acres. That was a hassle to get around. It also didn't help that the school was built on basically a cliff. Anyway, I get a phone call from one of our PDHPE teachers saying that her wireless mouse isn't working and that I need to run over a couple new batteries for her ASAP. To make matters worse, she is preparing for a parent presentation and she is upset this might make her look bad. So I grab the batteries and start the long jog over. Now I'm not athletic at all, so I was buggered by the time I arrived at the sports pavilion. I climb the stairs, my worst enemy, and enter the room huffing. She sees me and says, "Look, it's not working," moving the so-called mouse. Dumbfounded, I just stare at her in full deadpan mode and reply, "That's 'cause you're holding a whiteboard duster." It was at this moment that two things happened. The first was one of our technology teachers had just walked in and witnessed the spectacle. She was on the floor in hysterics laughing her ass off. The second was I realized Holly from Red Dwarf was so right in his assessment of PE teachers. I found the wireless mouse and it was working fine. I left the room and told no one what had happened, yet within an hour the whole school knew what had transpired. That PE teacher resigned a week later. I surely hope they have increased their IQ from 0.5, but it's unlikely. Thanks for taking the time to enjoy this post.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.